Absence from the G20 as an opportunity to focus on relations with other leaders. Just hours ago, Carney met with India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi in an effort to reset the relationship, despite the RCMP's allegations of India's involvement in homicide, extortion, and threats.
You can be both a reliable trading partner and there will be some sources of friction. What I will say with respect to India is that we don't have a comprehensive economic partnership agreement with India, one of the world's largest and fastest growing economies. The ability to have more effective trade with them, to scale that trade with them, would be greatly helped by that.
In 2023, then Prime Minister Justin Trudeau alleged there were links between the Indian government, agents, and the assassination of a Canadian Sikh activist on Canadian soil. Diplomatic relations were frozen until Prime Minister Carney took over and both countries reinstated their high commissioners. And Dinesh Patnaik is India's High Commissioner to Canada, and he joins me now. Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming in this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So this meeting has taken place, and it's my understanding that the Prime Minister and the Prime Minister Modi, agreed to some sort of movement on free trade talks, that those negotiations are going to take place.
We have been talking trade since the time the two prime ministers met in Canada Dinesh.
Yeah.
And then they called the high commissioners to come in. The high commissioners took over in the middle of September. Then we had the visit of the National Security Advisor to discuss law enforcement issues. Then we had the Civil Aviation Minister of India coming in here. Foreign Minister Anita Anand went to India, where she had a lot of meetings, including meeting with the Prime Minister Modi, with the Minister for Trade and Industry, Mr. Goel, and a very substantive meeting with Dr. Jaishankar, the External Affairs Minister, where we took out a new roadmap for what we are looking to see in the future. The roadmap commits us to a lot of action on a lot of fields, including trade. So trade has been on the anvil from the very beginning. Following that, my Minister Jaishankar, came for the G7 Foreign Ministers Outreach meeting, where we had another substantial meeting where we discussed, took stock of what's happened in the meanwhile, reviewed the progress, and there was much appreciation of how we have moved forward on a lot of issues. The main thing was then the visit of Minister Sidhu.
Yes.
Minister Sidhu went to India, where he met the Petroleum and Natural Gas Minister, which is also very important for us because that's one of the sectors we are looking for in. And then, of course, he had the trade and investment dialogue with Minister Goel. So it's all leading up to this meeting, and this meeting had both of us discussing trade.
Okay, I'm going to talk about some of the let's call them irritants, if not other things. But let me get your assessment then on where the relationship stands now. You're in Canada, so that's the beginning of that dialogue. And now it would seem some pretty significant moves on the part of both prime ministers.
Very much. Both prime ministers have taken this initiative to take the relationship forward. We are working on all sectors. We are looking at the institutional framework meetings, which is meetings on nuclear issues, meeting on trade, food and fertilizers, students, education, you name it. Okay. Every sector we are discussing, and we're discussing how we can move forward from what has been a chill. But the good thing about during the chill was that nothing really, the building blocks of the relationship did not change much. Trade continued as well as it was doing before, financial flows continued, people-to-people relations went on, everything continued except for a little chill in the diplomatic relations, which after Canada Dinesh case is back on track. And the way I have been received here in Canada and the Canadian High Commissioner in India shows that we are both moving forward on the right track.
Okay, let's talk about the chill a little bit, if you don't mind, because there are some examples of ongoing concerns. The head of CSIS, Dan Rogers, suggested just last week that national security concerns haven't gone away, and that CSIS has to be very vigilant about the alleged threats from India. Why should Canada set those concerns aside in order to pursue these other things that you're talking about?
They should not set the concerns aside. Like, we don't set our concerns aside. For the last 40 years, we've been talking about the presence of extremists within Canada. Since the Air India bombing, the Kanishka bombing, we've been talking about it. We've given evidence. There has been evidence given. There has been talk given. Yeah. The whole thing is both countries are mature enough to understand that we need to have a relationship where we discuss how people can be safe on the streets. Canadians safe on Canadian streets, Indians safe on Indian streets. You have to understand it's a dialogue between two countries. And that's the reason the NSA dialogue was actually to try and see how we can do intelligence information sharing on operational hubs, on financial flows, on all of the things.
Okay, let me ask you about some of that sharing, because there are dozens of instances in Canada of people reporting they are being threatened and extorted. As you know, the CBSA last month or earlier this month removed 3 individuals. There are 78 other investigations happening. And it is alleged that these people have ties to the Bishnoi gang. How is India helping Canadian authorities to crack down on those kinds of extortions and threats?
We have been giving them information from the very beginning, from the past. It's not now. I'm telling you, 40 years is what we've been doing it. And we have given them information which in the past sometimes were taken into consideration, sometimes disregarded.
But this isn't in the past, this is now. This is happening now.
Exactly. And now we're giving information to each other. In fact, we were happy the Bishnoi gang was proscribed by Canada. Recently, we had the brother of Lawrence Bishnoi, who is in jail. The brother was in the U.S., has just been extradited last week by the Americans to India to face charges. So we are taking action on our front. Whatever intelligence we have about the gangs, both the Bishnoi gang, the Batimba gang, the Sikh gangs who are doing things here, the links with global cartels. Today, like the G20 meeting, the terrorists across the world also have their own organizations, own way of connecting with each other. And so there are groups here which are working with groups around the world. And so this is the kind of collaboration we require, collaboration in which we talk to each other. We talk to each other about what is threatening us, what is threatening you, and exchange information to try and see how we can work together to make people on the street safe.
During the chill, there was a complete sort of breakdown in terms of the sharing of intelligence around the murder of Hardeep Singh Nijjar. What is the relationship now? How is India and security officials in India, how are they helping the RCMP with that case right now?
There is a case going on. There's a case, 4 people have been arrested, case in Surrey, which we do not have much information about what is happening, except that there are dates being fixed. The RCMP is talking to us about, if possible, necessity of information, of intelligence, of evidence that they require. And we are waiting for the case to unfold. Whatever evidence the Canadians have should be presented in the courts, and whatever help we can give the Canadians to make the evidence stronger and to see that the people who committed the crime are brought to justice. We will always work on it.
Given the previous allegations by security officials, by the former Prime Minister, can you say at this moment whether an agent of the government was involved in the killing?
We are never involved in this kind of things. India doesn't do things like this. It has never happened. Our problem is
you can say that definitively?
Definitely. I mean, the knowledge I have, definitely there is no involvement. And we have always said this. This is preposterous and absurd.
How is it, though, that a former Prime Minister would make that allegation? It would be based on intelligence that Canadian officials would have.
I will tell you something very clearly.
Yeah.
We have made some accusations, allegations of activity within Canada in the past. One of the few things the Canadians always tell us is that our burden of proof has to be beyond reasonable doubt, and that people are innocent until proven guilty. And whenever we give them evidence that there are gangs acting, there are people acting against Indian interest, we are told this evidence is not enough. And we take them at their face value. That if the Canadians are saying...
Sikh activists? Is that what you're talking about?
Okay. I mean, I can give you a whole list of names.
Sure.
When the Canadians tell us this the information is not enough, we tell them, okay, you're telling us this is not enough, we'll try and give you more. But we accept it because it's how relationship between countries. When you accuse us and we tell you we have not done it and this is not there is no evidence, please accept us at the same value that we have accepted you.
But if there's evidence presented in court that indicates that...
Exactly. Then we will take action ourselves, like we are taking action in the U.S.
But at this stage, you don't have that evidence.
We don't have any.
But you do know that there is a case in the United States where there is a connection.
And we are cooperating with the United States to make... We do not want people to sully India's image by doing activities abroad which are antithetical to exactly what India portrays.
Let me end on this, because today there is a referendum in Ottawa. It's been held before by Sikhs for Justice. This was the Canadian chapter was headed up by Hardeep Singh Nijjar. This is obviously, as you know, an attempt to create a Punjabi state, a separate state out from India. Obviously, you don't agree with that. But what is your reaction to the fact that these referendums continue inside this country with Sikhs?
See, it's a farcical referendum, which you can hold. I mean, for us, having peaceful protest or asking for something is part of a political process. Yes. We have no problem with it. In fact, in India, there are political parties which ask for the formation of a Khalistani government. And they're in parliament. They were in parliament. There are two people who are in parliament. One of them is the son of one of the persons who are accused or convicted of the assassination of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. He's today a member of parliament. The same thing. You people know what referendums are. You've done referendums in the past. You know how farcical this is. Referendums have a certain process. This is referendum by Canadians done in Canada. Now, if you want to do it, you do it. The problem that happens only is that back home in India, they see it as Canadian interference, foreign interference in India. Like Canadians see anything as Indian interference Canada, Indians in India look at it as Canadian interference in India. And that's something Canada has to think about. Number two, if it was only peaceful, that is fine. But what are you doing? You're putting up pictures of violence. You're putting pictures of a former Prime Minister of India being assassinated. You are glorifying suicide bombers who killed a former Chief Minister of Punjab. Now, imagine a situation where some other country would do the same about Quebec. Glorify people killed in the past, saying they were killed wonderfully. Glorify the killers of the minister, Minister Laporte. How do you feel? It's the same situation. We have to be sensitive.
I'm not sure it's the same situation, but I take your point. I take your point.
Just to make you, I have no offense meant in this, but just to make you feel that there is a sensitivity in India. We went through a process of real troubles in the 70s and 80s. We don't want, our people have gone through progress, economic reforms, economic growth. Today we are doing very well. We're the fourth largest economy in the world. We don't want outside forces to interfere with our growth. We have a population to take care of.
But there is freedom of speech, expression, and protest inside Canada, regardless of whether you agree with it or not.
No, we agree with it. But there is a line between freedom of speech and hate. I hope you understand that.
I do. High Commissioner, thank you for coming in and covering all those topics. Very much appreciated. That's Dinesh Patnaik, the High Commissioner to India.